general kind of move everything and hopefully feel really good at the end of it, class. So we're going to start with our alignment. So let's find feet hip width apart and have a look at the outside edges of your feet and try and get them as straight as you can. Have your weight back through your heels and then find that neutral pelvis. So remember that we're not tucking under or tipping forwards, it's kind of halfway between those 2 points where your hip bones and pubic bone are on that same plane. And then relax your ribs down. Nice and wide through your chest and shoulders, arms are down by your sides, looking into the distance and thinking about growing tall through the top of your head. Just pause here and take a few deep breaths. Get as much air in as you can with your inhale. And then as you exhale, just letting go of any tension, any tightness and anywhere that you're holding. Do that a couple more times, just at your own speed. Do one more breath. From here we're going to go into some heel raises now. So just rising up onto the balls of your feet and then lowering down with control. Remember, you're not coming right up onto your toes because that's going to make you fall forwards. Nice and controlled. Slow up, slow down if you can. Watching for that tendency to let your ankles roll out to the sides, and we're trying to keep the ankles as straight as we can here. Let's add some arms. As you inhale, float your arms up, and exhale as you lower your hands and your heels. Let's do that again. One more like this. And then we're going to add a little bit more arms. Let's do big circles with the arms. So sweep the arms up to the ceiling, take them out to the sides and lower your hands as you lower your heels. Let's do that 2 more times. Again, just moving with the speed and the flow of your breath. One more. And lowering down. Just give your legs a little shake out. We're going to come to a tree balance next. So we're going to keep the hip bones pointing directly ahead, and then we're going to take one leg and turn it out. So your knee's going to point out to the side. Toes are on the floor, heel just above your opposite ankle, and then watch to make sure that you haven't twisted your pelvis. So there's hip bones straight ahead, shoulders straight ahead, and then just holding here, making sure your pelvis doesn't shift. Can you bring that knee back forwards and out to the side? So it doesn't need to be a really big move. You're just rocking that leg in and out, a little bit of external rotation as you take that leg out to the side. Notice if there's a tendency to drop in your hips, so try and keep that alignment. And then let's add some arms here. Now, if you're struggling with your balance, feel free to hold onto the wall or something, or just keep your hands here. But if you're okay, we're going to hold that knee out to the side. We're going to bring the hands together. We're going to inhale as we reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and then exhale as you release the hands all the way back down. Let's do that again. Hands together. Inhale, we're going to reach. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. Arms reach, and then exhale, release the hands all the way down. Let's do the other side now. So finding your little toes down on the floor, heel above your ankle, and that nice level pelvis, hip bones pointing directly ahead. Making sure your pelvis isn't shifting anywhere. Again, you're going to bring that knee forwards and then out. You can make this movement as big or as small as you like. And if you don't like the movement, you can just hold that leg out to the side. You don't have to do the turning in and out. Making sure again that you're not kind of just dropping into your hip one side or the other, trying to maintain your alignment. And then again, let's hold the knee out to the side. If you're happy with your balance, we're going to bring the hands together. Inhale as you reach your arms to the ceiling, and then exhale as you release the hands all the way down. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach, grow tall, and then exhale as you release. We're going to do one more time. Inhale, reach, and exhale, and release. Release your legs. Just give your legs a little shake out. We're going to take our legs wide now. So take them super wide and turn them out so that your knees and your toes are pointing out to the side. Do a couple of little squats here, just making sure that you're happy with your squat position, and you can step wider if you want to. You can come a little bit more narrow. You don't have to go super low, just go to a point that feels okay for you. And once you're kind of happy with your squat, You're happy with the position of your legs. You're making sure that as you squat, your knees aren't rolling in, thinking about sending your knees out towards your little toes. We're going to add a little bit of movement on here. So come back up to standing. We're going to interlace our hands. Palms are facing up towards the sky. We're going to inhale as we bring the hands towards the chin. Turn the hands over and we're going to exhale. We're going to press the hands down as we squat down. Inhale now as you sweep your arms forwards, keeping your squat up towards the ceiling, and then exhale as you release the hands and come back to your start position. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, lift the palms to the chin. Exhale, press down as you squat. Inhale, sweep the arms forwards to the ceiling, and then exhale and release. Let's do one more of those. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, sweep forwards and up. And exhale and release to come all the way down. Walk your feet in and grab your half dome now. We're going to do our calf stretch next. Okay, so standing with the ball of your foot to the top of the dome, heel down onto the floor, and then step your other leg to hip width. If you know that you can step that free leg a little bit further forward, then feel free to do that. And then let's have a look at the position of our foot that's on the dome. Is it turned out? Can you try and make that foot as straight as possible? And then do a little knee bend and notice if that knee is rolling in. And if it is, you're going to turn that thigh bone out slightly to get that knee tracking straight ahead. Once you're happy with that position, scan through your body to check that you aren't gripping and holding tension anywhere. So make sure you're not frowning, let your face relax, let your jaw relax. Neck and shoulders, ribs are down, arms are down. How much are you gripping through your thighs? Can you allow your thighs to relax a little bit? And we're keeping our weight through the heel of the leg that's on the dome. Maybe see if you can step that free leg a little bit further forwards without losing that alignment. But if it makes you feel like you're going to fall back, then just step it back again. There's no rush to get your leg forwards. You've got to allow your body the time and the space to adapt to these movements. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So switching to the other side. Same thing here, ball of the foot to the top of the dome, heel down onto the floor, and then step your other leg to hip width. Alright. Do your little scan again, making sure you're not holding tension anywhere. How does it feel? How about if we look at our alignment again on this side? So is your foot turned out? Can you get that outside edge of your foot straight? How about that knee? If you do a little knee bend, is that knee rolling in? Can you get that knee straight? Do you need to do any turning out of your thigh? And then making sure that we're still relaxed. Take a few breaths. And noticing again, maybe can you step that free leg a little bit further forwards? And if it makes you feel like you're going to fall backwards or you've lost any of those alignment pieces, then just step it back. Hold for a few more breaths here. Alright, and then let it go. Give your legs a little shake out, and we're going to come down onto the mat now. So lie yourself down on your mat. Allow your spine to settle here into the floor. So let the back of your rib cage anchor itself down and be heavy. Back of your pelvis heavy. And try to find that neutral pelvis, so you've not got your pelvis tipped towards you with all of your back flat on the mat. It's kind of in the more neutral position, so hip bones and pubic bone are on that same level. Going back to thinking about your breath again here. Can you find that big 3D breath? And then bringing your feet and knees together. I'm going to take it into a little spine twist. So open your arms out, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Roll your shoulders and chest open. Take a breath. As you exhale, let both knees roll to one side. Inhale as you come through centre and exhale over to the other side. So you're trying to keep your rib cage anchored So it's just your lower body that's twisting, your pelvis is twisting, but the rib cage stays anchored. And again, just move nice and slow, move at the speed that feels right for you. And then as you come in through centre, you're going to pick your knees up, bring them in towards your chest one at a time. Give your knees a little hug and just rock gently side to side. Giving your lower back a little bit of a release and a massage into the floor. So still stay with this kind of gentle rocking side to side. Can you take your feet and knees wide so they're not together? You're kind of a little bit wider, and can you rock side to side there? Just changes things a little bit. And then we're going to do our little knee circles, so you can have your hands on your knees and circle around, or if you don't need your hands, you can circle your knees without. And then reverse and go the other way. And then bring your knees into your chest again and just rock side to side. We're going to keep hold of our right leg now. Let your left leg come back down onto the floor. So you can have that left leg either out long if you want to, or have that leg bent, whichever feels better for you. But pull your right knee as close towards your chest as you can. And we'll try it again to get that neutral pelvis. So try not to let your whole pelvis rock back. Just hold for a couple of breaths. And then straightening that leg up towards the ceiling. Keep hold of it here. Get it as straight as you can, and then let's just point and flex our foot here. And then circling your foot around. And then reverse that and go the other way. And then when you finish those, just bringing that knee in towards your chest again, just give it a little hug. And then we're just going to switch legs. So releasing that right leg again, you can keep it bent or you can have it out straight. And bring that left leg in towards you. And again, just pulling it in towards you and trying to get that neutral pelvis, or as close to as you can manage without creating too much stress and tension. We want to feel good. We don't want to feel like we've created a whole lot of tightness and tight tension. Straightening that leg up towards the ceiling. Keep hold of it. Get it as straight as you can, and then point and flex your foot here. And let's do those little circles of our foot. And then can you reverse the circle and go the other way? Good. And then when you finish, just bring that knee into your chest again. Pull it in towards you, getting a good stretch into your hip. And then release that leg. Let's lengthen both legs out long. Reach your arms overhead and stretch from fingertips to toes, making yourself as long as you can. From here we're going to go into our crescent stretch now. So walk your feet to the right. And then walk your arms and upper body also to the right. So you're in that crescent or that banana shape. Now that might be enough stretch for you, so you can absolutely stay there. If you want to add a little bit more, picking up your left leg, you're going to cross that ankle over your right. And if you want to increase the stretch through the upper body with your right hand, you can grab your left wrist and just give it a little bit of a pull, just to give you even more stretch. Thinking about that breath again. So your 3D breath, as you take a real deep breath in, can you feel even more stretch now down your left side? Can you feel the movement of the ribs on that left side as they kind of pivot open, move apart like shutters opening? To stretch the muscles between the ribs, to give you more space. So just hold for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to release the arms first. So release your arms, let your arms come down just to take the load off your shoulders. Uncross your legs and walk them back in through centre. So we're going to take it to the other side this time. So walk your legs to the left, to the left, to the left. Arms up and overhead again, and then walk your arms and upper body also to the left. And again, you can stay here if that's enough. Or picking up your right ankle, cross it over your left. And with your left hand, you can grab that right wrist and just give it a little pull. And take some deep breaths. How's that breath feel on this side? And you feel a lot more movement now through the right side of your rib cage. This is really nice for creating space and length through your body. And then as you exhale this time, release your arms. Again, bringing your arms down first. Walk your legs back in through centre and then move in slowly, just bending one leg at a time. You're going to bring your knees into your chest again. Little reset for your back as you just rock gently side to side. So just go slow. In and out, any knots there. So let's do a little release then for the back. Bringing your legs back down. Now, so we're going to have knees bent, feet flat, and about hip width apart. And we're going to go for that pelvic tilt. So take a breath, and as you exhale, tilt your pelvis towards you, flattening out your back onto the floor. And then as you inhale, you're just going to roll back into that centre position. So exhale, tilt towards you, inhale, just release. Let's just keep going here. Again, you're just going with your breath. And you can feel how it just releases that lower back, anything that you are gripping and holding in your lower back. This is a really nice way to just release that. Mobilising the muscles around your pelvis. To this now, so we're going to take this into a spine curl. So this time, as you tilt your pelvis towards you, you're going to keep it tipped towards you, and then you're going to start to peel your spine up away from the floor. Moving slowly. When you get to the top of your position, pause to take a breath, and then exhale and slowly roll down. So think about coming down from the rib cage first. So rib cage is coming down first, then middle back, lower back. Your bottom is the last thing to come down. So you're really looking for that sequential movement of your spine. Keep going, breath in. As you exhale, tilt your pelvis towards you and roll up. Pausing at the top to take a breath and then exhaling as you roll down. And trying to get as much movement through your spine as you can here. Keep your eyes on the ceiling, keeping your neck in a nice position. Don't come up too high. Shoulder blades should be anchored and heavy on the mat the whole time. And making sure when you come to the top of that position that your ribs aren't thrusting. You don't want your ribs lifting up towards the ceiling. Ribs shouldn't be higher than pelvis. Ribs are always relaxed and down, and you're lifting your hips towards the ceiling. Do one more like that. When you come down this time, just picking up your knees, bringing them into your chest again, just do a little reset, just a little rock side to side. come back to feet and knees hip width apart. This time have your hands on your hip bones, like you've got your hands in your pockets, so that you can feel how level your pelvis is. And we're going to try and lift our hips towards the ceiling whilst keeping that level pelvis. So take a breath. As you exhale, you're not peeling and rolling your spine up. You're going to press into your heels and just lift your hips towards the ceiling. You don't have to come up super high. And then you're just going to fold at the hip and lower back down. So straight up, straight down. So pressing into your feet as you lift, ribs stay down, and then lowering back down. So notice as you come up, is your pelvis coming up level, or is one side trying to come up before the other? See if you can try and keep it level. Noticing if you feel like you're putting more pressure in one foot than the other. Do you feel like one glute is working more than the other, and you're really trying to level and balance that out? And then to make sure that we're working both, and both are super strong, because you come up this time, just come up to about halfway and hold it there. Hands still on your pelvis, trying to keep that pelvis level. We're going to see if we can lift one foot away from the floor. So if it's too much, you can just kind of unweight your foot and maybe just come up onto the toes. But if you're happy with that, then see if you can lift one leg off the floor without dropping your pelvis. And if it drops, you're going to do your best to level it out and then place that foot back down. Same on the other side. So you're going to test it first, just maybe coming up onto your toes, see how you feel with that. Feel free to stay there, or you can try lifting that leg. And again, if your pelvis drops, you're going to level it out and then lower that leg back down. We're going to keep switching sides, and your work is to just try and keep that pelvis level. So you can feel the standing leg is working super hard, pushing down into the mat, and that glute on that side is working super hard to hold everything nice and stable. So if you don't want to lift the leg, if it feels like it's a little bit much, just keep switching, coming up onto your toes of each foot, because even that is enough to start building some real strength there. Let's do one more on each side. And then as you place your foot down this time, lower your bottom down. And again, do your little reset, a little side to side. Releasing your legs back down to the floor. Let's go into our cobbler stretch from here. So soles of the feet together, let your knees roll out to the sides. Couple of deep breaths. Letting go of anything that you are starting to hold. Any tension that's starting to creep up in your neck, shoulders. Let's reach our arms to the ceiling now. Interlace your fingers and flip your hands over, pressing your palms to the ceiling to stretch. Keep your ribs down and start to slowly take your arms overhead towards the floor behind you, whilst not letting your ribs lift and arch in your back. Just hold for a breath, and then when you're ready, slowly bring your hands back up towards the ceiling. Bring your fingers apart, give your fingers a wriggle. And then circle your wrists around. Go the other way. And then gently pulling each finger in turn back. And then give them a wriggle again. And bringing your arms back down by your sides. Let's bring those knees back in towards each other again. And let's go back to feet hip width apart. This time I want you to put your hands on your low belly. Okay. And we're going to think about our breath again. So taking that deep breath in. And then long, slow exhale. So that again, really deep breath in. And long, slow exhale. So keep breathing like that. Now notice as you get to the end of the exhale, can you feel your deep low abdominals kind of drawing in? Try and notice as you get to the end of the exhale, do you feel some contraction of your abdominals? That's your reflexive core working to expel all of the air out. And that's the sensation that we want to feel when we're using our abdominals. We want them to kick in to do the work
we're asking them to do, we don't want to have to think about sucking our belly in. So we're going to play with that, and we're going to add some single knee folds. So on your next exhale, you're going to lift one leg to tabletop. And as you inhale, you're just going to lower that leg down. As you exhale, you're going to lift the other leg to tabletop. And as you inhale, you're going to lower back down. So you're working with your breath. And we're trying to work with that reflexive core. So again, as you exhale and that knee lifts, can you feel your abdominals working? Just putting your awareness there. Trying to keep your pelvis as still as possible. So notice as you lift your leg, is your pelvis tipping? And keep your pelvis still. So this is great for that abdominal kind of connection, for strengthening your abdominals. But we can build on this a little bit. You can always stay here if this is enough for you. Otherwise, as your leg comes into tabletop this time, hold it there. And on your next exhale, bring its friend up to join it. So you've got both legs in tabletop now. Alright, we're going to lower one leg down just to tap your toes on the floor. And then you're going to bring that leg back in through centre. So we're going to use the breath. We're going to inhale as we tap the toe down. And we're going to exhale as we pull it back in. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you lift. So pay attention to what's happening with your abdominals. Are they kind of bulging up like a little loaf of bread in the oven? And if they're bulging up, you want to see if you can allow them to relax down. So taking that real long exhale and thinking about everything sinking down. And if you can't let it relax and sink down and it's bulging, then you're just going to go back to having both legs down and lifting one leg at a time, which is a great way to build that strength. If you're happy here with the legs, then we're going to add even more challenge, and we're going to add the arms. So we're going to take our arms up towards the ceiling, and as you tap one toe down, you're going to reach the opposite arm away and then bring it up. Inhale as you reach the arm and the leg. Exhale as you pull back to centre. A lot of work. Your abdominals are having to stabilise your body as well as pulling that arm and that leg back in. Good job. One more on each side. And then bring your knees into your chest again. Give your knees a little hug and just rock gently side to side. So you can probably feel your abdominals have worked quite hard with that movement. It doesn't need to be a big movement. You don't need to do 1,000 crunches and sit-ups and all kinds of horribleness. That's a really nice way to work your abdominals. So same with working our abdominals. We're going to go for the log pull over next. So grab your block, your cushion, your half dome, whatever you've got, something that you can hold between your hands. And then we're going to take it up towards the ceiling. And we're going to start with knees bent, feet flat. And let's have a slight bend in your elbow. So just a softness of your elbow. It doesn't need to be hugely bent. And then imagine that your elbow has got a magnet on it and it's drawing towards the other elbow rather than poking out to the side. And as you inhale, we're going to take your arms overhead towards the floor. And then exhale as you come back up. So keeping your ribs down, and that's quite tricky. And it doesn't matter how far you go, your goal here isn't to tap your block on the floor, it's to keep the ribs down whilst moving the arms. Inhale as your arms go overhead, and then exhale to pull back towards the ceiling. So you can probably feel this as work around your upper abdominals. Trying to stabilise that rib cage and keep that rib cage from lifting. And then as your arms come up to the ceiling this time, hold it there. Let's straighten out our legs now. Now if having your legs out straight bothers your back, then go back to knees bend. We're going to do the same thing. Elbows are drawing in towards each other. Arms go overhead. And then back up towards the ceiling. So by having our legs out long now, your lower abdominals are also having to work to stabilise your pelvis. And we're trying to get as neutral a pelvis as possible here. So again, you don't want to have your pelvis tipped back and your lower back pressing hard into the mat. Should feel like there's maybe a little tiny bit of space under your lower back and your legs are just out long. You can have your legs squeezing together or hip width apart, whichever feels more comfortable for you. We're going to do 2 more. And then as your arms come up towards the ceiling this time, you're going to get rid of your block, pop it down to the side, interlace your fingers again and flip your hands over and just stretch into your hands. Keeping the ribs down, take your arms overhead, again just as far as they can go without the ribs. And then bring your hands back up towards the ceiling and just release your fingers, give them a good stretch. We're going to do floor angels next. So I'm going to keep my legs out long. It's up to you if you want to keep your legs out long or you want to go back to that bent position. Depends how it feels in your lower back. I'm going to take our arms down to the floor, palms are facing up towards the ceiling. And you're going to start to slowly slide the backs of your hands out along the floor and up towards your head. Just go as high as you can without those ribs leaving the floor. And then slowly bring your hands all the way back down. So nice stretch, opening out the chest and the shoulders. Again, we're working the abdominals by trying to keep the rib cage down. As your arms come down towards your hips this time, can you get even more of that external rotation? So think about rolling your arms all the way out to get your thumbs down on the floor. And there's a little softness at the elbow. Can you lift your elbow just off the floor? And slowly slide your thumbs along the floor and up towards your head. And then coming back down. So you've got those arms turned out as much as you can. Feeling really open through the chest and the shoulders. Two more. One more time as your arms come down towards your hips this time. You're going to again pick up your knees, bring your knees in, and just do a little reset. Just rock gently side to side. So we're going to come onto our side now and do the clam. So coming onto one side, knees bent. You can have your arm out long or your head propped in your hand, whichever feels better for you. And then take a moment to get you set up right here. So again, you're thinking about your hip bones being one on top of the other. You've not got that top hip rolled back. And then we're going to keep the feet together and we're going to open out that top knee and lower it down. So your pelvis doesn't shift, your hip bone is pointing directly ahead the whole time. Good. We'll do 5 more. A good way to test as well that your pelvis isn't rolling back if you do have a block is to stand it up behind you, so like right against your bottom, so that when you open your leg out, if you knock that block over, you know that your pelvis has shifted back. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. Alright, and then as you lower that leg down this time, we're going to keep the knees down, but we're going to lift the feet and then open out. So it's the same movement but a little bit more load, because obviously we've not got the feet resting down on the floor. So if it's too much with the feet up, you can always lower them back down. Two more. And then we're going to lower the legs back down. We're going to lift that whole top leg and lower it again. It's more load, it's more weight. If it's too much, then you can go back to one of the other variations. Good, last one. And then lowering that leg down. We're just going to flip over and do the same on the other side. So coming onto your other side. Again, take a moment to get your setup right, because that's the most important thing. If that's not right, you might not be moving the bits you think you are. So once you're happy, feet stay together, and you're going to open out that top hip. And making sure that your hip bone is pointing straight ahead and it's not moving as you open and close that leg. But sometimes it's nice to have your hand there so that you can feel. Is it the same on this side? Does it feel different? Good. Last two. Last one. And then as you lower your knees down this time, lifting the feet, let's do the same here. Last two. Last one. And then lowering those legs down, and again we're going to lift the whole top leg this time. Let's do. They feel super hard this morning, and then lower it down. Oh, needs a little rub, needs a little pat this morning. We're going to roll onto our front for some hip extension next. So when you're ready, coming onto your front, and you're going to have your hands one on top of the other, and you can rest your forehead on your hands. Again, taking a moment to get your setup right, pubic bone anchored, tailbone slightly tucked. You can have your legs squeezed together or hip width apart, so find the position that works for you. And then reaching one leg away, making that leg as long as you can, allow it to lift away from the floor, and then lower down. And you're just going to keep switching sides. So keep your pubic bone anchored, keep that slight tuck to keep length through your lower back. And try and have your back as relaxed as you can. It's really easy in this position to kind of tilt your pelvis the other way and start using your back, and that can give you that compression, that tightness and cramping in your back. So if your back's really, really tight and you're struggling, you can always grab a rolled up towel and pop it under your hip bones to allow your pelvis to kind of tip backwards. If you need to, that's always a nice modification if you know that this bothers your lower back. Keep reaching those legs, trying to keep your pelvis as still as you can. It's your bottom that's doing the work here, so make sure that it's not just, hanging out and enjoying itself. Make sure that it's working super hard. Reach. Reach. Good. Alright, and then as you lower your leg down this time, we're going to push ourselves up and back into child's pose, into that rest position, just to give you a little stretch out. Reach your arms as far forwards as you can. Couple of breaths there. And then we're going to come up onto all fours. Fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. Let's just do a couple of rhomboid push-ups here, just to mobilise your shoulder blades. So shoulder blades squeeze together, shoulder blades wide. So just get some movement through your shoulders there. And then we want to come to that point where our shoulder blades are really stable on our back. So not squeezed together, not really wide, maybe halfway between those 2 points where you feel that's kind of where they belong. And then we're going to try and keep those shoulders still as you reach one arm forwards and then bring it back in. Try the other side. Can you reach one arm forwards
and bring it back in. Do one more on each side. Trying to keep your shoulders from moving. Alright, and as your hand comes down this time, I'm going to keep the hands down. Let's try the legs this time. So hip bones are pointing down towards the floor, shoulders are nice and stable. Reach one leg out long on the mat, and then can you lift that leg without dipping into your back? And then bring that leg in. So there's no movement through the back. As you reach the leg out, and then lift, and bring it back in. Alright, just come off your wrists for a minute. So this is just like a little fun, I'm using the word fun, you know. It's a challenge, okay? So it's a body-brain challenge. So we did our dead bug, so we were laid on the floor with the arm and the leg going, which is quite a challenge for your brain. Think about that, but kind of the opposite way. And we're going to add a little bend in it. So don't worry about it. If you've got no idea, you can't get it wrong. So let's go back to all fours. Okay, let's just do arm first. We're going to bend the arm. So I'm going to get you to actually bend your elbow and point your elbow up towards the ceiling. All right, and then lower that down. Do the same on the other side. So bend the elbow, point it up towards the ceiling, bring it in. Okay, we're going to bend the leg, right? So just do one leg. So you're just going to bend the leg up towards the ceiling, point your foot towards the ceiling, bring it back in. And then the other side, bend and bring it back in. Okay. Can we do bent arm and bent leg on opposite sides? So one arm, opposite leg bent, and then bring it back down. Arm and leg bent, bring it back down. Do one more of them on each side. Arm and leg bent, arm and leg bent. All right, we're going to add on. This time, arm and leg bent comes up, and then we're going to straighten arm and leg out long into Superman. Back to arm and leg bent, and lower down onto the floor. Other side, arm and leg bent, straighten out to Superman, arm and leg bent again, and lower back down. Yeah, arm and leg bent, reach away, bend it back in, and lower it down. Again, arm and leg bent, reach, bend it back in, lower it down. So I know you've kind of got a lot to think about. See if you can just kind of get that movement going without having to overthink too much. And then think about, is everything moving in your body? How are those shoulders? Can you still get that nice stable shoulder? And is your back nice and still? So can you use the muscles of your core to keep everything super still? All right, one more piece. Just come off your hands for a minute and give your hands a little rest. One more piece before your brain explodes. How are we for time? Oh, we're fine. We'll add one more piece and then we're going to do the strap stretch. So we're going to do the arm and leg bend, arm and leg reaches, and then we're going to see if we can take the arm and the leg out to the side a little bit, okay? And if you lose it, it doesn't matter. It's just a little bit of fun. So let's come back onto all fours. All right, let's do this. So arm and leg bent, arm and leg reaches long, and then comes out to the side. Comes back, bends in, lowers down. Yeah. Other side, so arm and leg bent, reaching long, arm and leg comes out to the side, back to the front, bends in, ooh, and lowers down. Try it again. Arm and leg bent, and reach. Take it out to the side. Come back in, bend, and lower. Arm and leg bends, and reaches, and out to the side, and back, bend in, and lower. Do one more on each side, and stretch it out to the side. Good job. So it's all about stability and challenging, and come off your hands and give them a little shake. A little bit of fun. Okay, grab your strap. Let's do some strap stretch. Lie yourself back down again with one leg in your strap. Place the strap at the base of your toes,
And have that leg long. Other leg out long too. Trying to find your neutral pelvis. Trying to anchor the back of that free leg down onto the floor, at least at some point. And then the leg that's in the strap, get it as straight as you can. So watch for that little sneaky knee bend. Get that leg as straight as you can. Pull the front of the foot towards you, pressing your heel away. Take a few breaths there. Alright, we're going to lift and lower this leg. So in the strap, lift and lower. So you're letting the leg kind of be heavy and you're moving it with the strap. So think about your pelvis being still and just that thigh bone in the hip socket, lifting and lowering. Good. And then we're going to add some little circles here. So a slight turnout is usually nice for circles. And then you're going to bring that leg slightly across your body first and then down, around and up. So Sue, on your hip side, do your like a little D. So you're just going straight down the midline rather than crossing the midline. So you're doing little circles and you're in control of this. So you can make the circle as big or as small as you like. I've lost count of how many I've done. Go the other way. So you can, if your hip's clicky and not happy, you can play with how much turnout you have or whether you're better in a neutral position. You can make the circle smaller. And then as you come back through centre, we're going to just switch legs. Again, free leg reaches long. Legging the strap super heavy. Take a moment to just let that settle. Trying to get that neutral pelvis. Noticing if the leg that's up towards the ceiling has that hip hitched up as well. And you think about sending that hip away from you so that your pelvis is even. The leg is straight. And then let's do again a little lower and lift here. Is it the same? Just notice whether there's any difference one side to the other. Trying to keep your pelvis still and just again that leg bone. Moving in your hip socket. And then we're going to do our little circles on this side. So as you come up to the ceiling this time again, maybe a little turn out, bringing that leg across and then circling around. So we always come across first because that's kind of the safest position for your hip, just to make sure that it's happy rather than taking it out to the side first. But if for any reason that coming across the midline is not good for you, you can do like a little D where your leg just goes straight down and then out to the side. There's always options. When you've done a few in one direction, you're just going to reverse and go the other way. Again, just as far as feels good to you. So this is a really nice gentle mobilization for your hip. Good. Alright, and then when you're even Stevens on both sides, you can get rid of your strap. Just pop it down. And again, let's do a little stretch from fingertips to toes. Make yourself as long as you can. Stretch. Circle your arms out to the sides, bringing your knees into your chest, picking them up one at a time. And again, let's just do that gentle rocking side to side. And then when you're ready, come on up to seated. Just taking a moment once you get to seated to just roll your shoulders. And the other way. Gently turning your head side to side. That's you done. Well done, everybody.